Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 13th of August, comes to you from London. And I've been away for a week, so just reacquainting myself with what's going on in the market. So the dollar index pushing higher still. So we're seeing here breaking to new multi-month highs here. Actually, the highest we've seen for a year. So dollar really looking strong, and we're seeing lots of short-term upside targets here, and it's just powering ahead really. So the dollar strength is really the key, and we're seeing that play through to euro weakness. We're seeing the euro really falling over the last few days, again making one-year lows. So euro looking weaker still. And we've still got these big downside targets hanging over us, but short term we've got downside potential as much as 3%. Looking at the Japanese yen, you're seeing dollar actually looking a little bit weaker here, so the yen looking stronger, and sterling has really fallen away, sitting at 127.46. So again, making 12-month lows here as well. So we're just starting to see that playing through. Against the euro, sterling looking a little bit stronger. Against the Swiss franc, still looking pretty weak, and against the Aussie dollar, actually strengthening a little bit there on Aussie dollar weakness. Looking at Bitcoin, really has fallen away the last couple of weeks, and we're just seeing here back to this sort of 6,000 level, having nudged as high as 8,000. We see a lot of volatility in the price, so Bitcoin still looking bearish, medium and long term. US stocks on Friday, we see here that the week was fairly subdued, but we did fall away quite heavily on Friday. So still looking bullish, but struggling to make new highs. So that is still hanging over the market. And if we look at the Nasdaq index, it also fell away on Friday. Again, just struggling to push higher as well, although we have surpassed the highs we saw earlier in the year. Looking at the Dow Jones, weaker here too, and again struggling to make new highs. Bullish medium and long term, but short term just falling away there. The Russell 2000 index, the broader based index, is actually looking stronger medium to long term, and looking at the futures this morning, looks like the market will open lower. Turkey crisis really just hanging over markets, and we're seeing the S&P future down 0.4% and the Nasdaq down 1/3%. So it does look like US markets will go lower. FTSE down quite heavily also over the last few days, and we're seeing also further falls there this morning as well. The mid caps in the UK also sinking lower, and the DAX also down quite heavily, 2/3% down this morning, and making new multi-week lows there, so looking weak as well. Looking at the French market, also falling away, the CAC 40 lower, and in Asia, big falls in Japan, down 2%, so really pushing lower. The Hang Seng also down 1.5%, so quite big falls here in Asia. China bucking the trend, only down 0.3%, but still bearish on all three time frames, and still looking very worrying from a chart perspective. The Indian market holding its trends, but down 2/3%. The Australian market down 0.4%, just struggling at those levels. Brent crude sitting at $72 this morning, having been as low as 71. We are in bearish territory on the short term, but more importantly, we're wandering into bearish territory on the medium term. And WTI also just looking weaker there. The long-term trend still very much in track, but the short and medium-term trends looking a bit lower. US nat gas sitting at $2.92, and if we look at some of the other products, heating oil tracking really crude oil prices. Look at some of the other soft commodities. See here, coffee is lower, cocoa pushing lower, and if we look at sugar, also just pushing lower. So we are seeing the softs still looking pretty weak generally. Sugar bearish on all three time frames. Looking at gold looking weaker at 12.06 this morning. So really continuing its downtrend, and the long-term trend starting to look quite bearish. We do have a medium-term target of 1161. upside and downside targets here on the 60-minute chart. 2.8% upside and 3.4% downside. These targets not yet activated. This target not yet activated the downside, although we have an 1192. So gold is looking a little weaker. Looking at silver, also looking pretty weak there, with quite a lot of short-term and medium-term downside targets. US 10-year yields fallen back quite significantly, back to 2.86%, having just nudged that 3% just over a week ago. So just can't push higher at the moment. So yields looking weak. German bond prices rising, which we'd expect if the yields are falling. And looking at Apple, just holding on to its gain, sitting at $207, so no signs of any bearishness there. Amazon has been really powering ahead this last year, and again just holding on to its gains. Google on Friday was down, and we see here down nearly 1%, so just not doing quite as well. And Facebook, having fallen back very significantly a few weeks ago, just starting its recovery, sitting at the 180 level. So still bullish in the long-term chart, but work to do on that short-term chart. And Microsoft sitting at 109, still looking pretty bullish on all three time frames. And Netflix, which had a turbulent month last month, just starting its recovery as well, but quite similar to Facebook there. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.